Bossy Pig, JJ. These guys crack me up. They lay out here night and day. We come out in the morning, here they lay. Well, they come in to eat, but that's about it. JJ, you think you might get up and do something today? I don't know, that looks pretty comfortable. Hi, I'm Pete, and welcome to Just a Few Acres Farm. Today we're starting out with swine. Swine, pigs, porkers, piggies, monsters. And it's one of those days when, I don't blame them, you really don't want to get out of bed. It's about 35 degrees and cloudy. These guys are just going to laze around all day long and eat. I have news in the pig department. Here we go, guys. Well, that got some of them up. I talked to one of the pig breeders that I was going to buy from a couple days ago, and he said he's not doing purebred this spring. I guess he does it on an alternating schedule. And what he has to offer is Yorkshire crossed with Hereford and Yorkshire crossed with Berkshire, which I think are fine hybrids. And I arranged to buy one gilt of each from him. And a gilt is just a young female pig that hasn't had a litter yet. So they'll be about 6 or 8 weeks old, and they'll be available in June. The other breeder that I sought to find a purebred Tamworth gilt from hasn't gotten back to me, but at least we're covered with 2 new gilts this spring, and hopefully a third. Another little nugget of wisdom I've learned over the years is regarding breed of pigs. There are certainly high production breeds that you as a small farmer homesteader can choose to raise, and landrace is the most common. I will never ever raise landrace pigs. We raised them once, and the meat was practically tasteless. It was just like the meat you buy in the supermarket. Yes, they grow fast. Yes, they're prolific, but it's not the kind of meat that our customer base is looking for. They're looking for the alternative to that. So we focus on heritage breeds that are also fairly fast growing. And, you know, I'll rattle off a few: Berkshire, Tamworth, Hereford. Those are certainly Duroc, all good breeds for the business we're in, which is, you know, selling at the farmer's market with something that's different. There's another, you can go another way, and you can go to slower growing breeds and the so-called pure pasture breeds, which take a year or more to grow out in some cases. They're not profitable for us because the labor involved is just too much. And so we focus on those middle breeds that I recommended and stay away from the breeds that were around predominantly when people were still doing hog farming around here, where they were selling into the system and it was winding up in the supermarkets. That's gone, and what's left is the type of pork that we grow. Hello, Sally. This is the last set of bales of hay in here. When this hay is gone, they're going out to pasture. Oh boy, there's not much left in here. These guys are going to eat me out of house and home. Next thing, biggest thing when you're raising pigs, cost of grain. Watch out, you monsters. I've said it before, and I'll say it again, the cost of grain is a killer for raising pigs. So I have 2 gravity wagons out here that need to be filled up. The pigs and the chickens are going to fill them here in a couple days. Pig feed costs us about 22 cents a pound. We were paying 10 to 12 cents a pound for years and years, and then all of a sudden, it went up to 22. 22 cents a pound times 6,000 pounds is $1,320 to fill that wagon. Broiler feed, I'm guessing, is going to be 25 cents a pound. 6,000 pounds to fill that wagon is about $1,500. That's a $3,000 feed bill to feed those 2 wagons. Now, farming is a capital-intensive venture, which means you have to have capital on hand to kind of loan yourself until it comes back to you. I'm going to be out that $3,000 plus for these pigs until they all sell, because profit only comes at the very end of selling pigs, or pig cuts at the farmer's market, pork cuts. So I'm going to be out that money at least 6 months. Some of that money I'm going to be out close to a year. And for the chickens, they're a much better turnaround. I'll be out that money till probably mid-June, and then it'll start to pay for themselves. The whole thing kind of makes me laugh. I remember when I was a kid and you'd go to the diner or go to another farm, talk to farmers. They were all complaining about how they were losing money, and I would think to myself, well, why are you still doing it? Here I am, The old guy who's still doing it. Not making much, still doing it. You knew this was going to happen, didn't you? Yep. Oh, I've been looking so forward to this.
My busted manure spreader. Look at those ladies kicking up their heels. Spring fever. Step one is to get rid of some of the manure, and I'm going to go down here to do that. Well, I guess this is as good a spot as any. I have a plan to fix this without having to pitch out the whole load, but I do need to pitch out this corner. What I want to do here is expose the end of the apron chain in this corner. Remember, the apron chain is busted on this side. I don't know how far back it is. We'll find out. And right there it is. That's the busted end. Here's the nearest slat. It broke at the slat. Just an aside, boy, this grass sure is looking good. The cows gonna love it. Let me show you what I'm dealing with here. This thing under here is the apron chain, and it's got slats every so often. And what this does is, as the manure spreader is going, this apron chain is traveling like this and up under the end to the bottom of the bed and kind of pulling the manure back to the beaters back there. In front, the apron chain on each side rides on a sprocket here, and these sprockets aren't driven, they're just independent for each side. Just a turning wheel, and it makes the turn on that. But on the back side of the spreader here, you see here's a gearbox, and it's connected to a shaft, which you can barely see under all the manure, that's got sprockets on each side of it, and that's what pulls on the chain, the apron chain, to bring it back and around underneath. And what happened here on the other side is the chain got giddly wonkers somehow. I think it caught in one of these beaters, bent this slat, bound up the chain got all wound up in here and broke it. And here's the link that broke. Now this chain comes apart easily. You can put in links, take out links, just like that. And these are the links that fell out when I unwound the tangle that was on this sprocket. And what I have, if you look under here, is I've got a wonky apron chain. See how that slat is crooked? It's more toward the back of the spreader on the far side than it is on the near side. Those two chains got to be even for the slats to travel in an even direction. So when the chain broke, that side moved ahead a little bit, or back a little bit, I guess you would say, and got the chain crooked. So the first step is to kind of try and get this all straightened out. It's time for action, not words. First thing we gotta do is cut this slat out. Stop! Wait, that won't work. I had to adjust the plan and clean out the whole back here so I could get it the other side. You'll see. Now I can cut out the other end of this slat. And I'm glad I cleaned out this other side, because you could see, I couldn't see this before, this side of the apron chain is also off the sprocket, and it's tighter than tight because these things, these slats, when they twist, they make the chain a little bit shorter by twisting the link. So I'm not going to be able to get that one back on the sprocket. Therefore, I'm going to have to cut this apron chain and hook a chain onto this chain. Well, get on there and hook the other end of the chain up to my loader. That looks pretty straight, although this slat's supposed to set on the chain back here. It came loose. Here's the proof in the pudding now. This slat that's coming around here looked pretty straight. And see why I could do this, because these are independent
sprockets. Each one turns on its own, so with the back disconnected, you can pull on one or the other. Now then, having towed this chain back here, we need to put her back together. And what I did is I used those spare links that I had taken off the other side that were all loose and used them to put onto this chain. This goes together just like that. We gotta make sure it's on the sprocket. That's very important. And for the other side, I had to purchase some new links. Here are the old links that I still have left over. And here are new links, which are readily available. There's still a lot of these manure spreaders in service, and we're going to build up enough chain to hook up the other side. I tried thinking if there's anything I would rather be doing on this nice sunny day, and I can't think of anything. This is just about perfect, laying on the ground, putting together a chain. This is going to be way too loose, but I expect that for now anyway. Got my chains all hooked up. They're whole again. There's the one on that side, and here's the one on this side. Now, again, this is way too loose, but all I want to do right now is get this load off, and then I can fine tune. So let's take her out and see if she'll throw the poo. First, we're going to give her a stationary test and see if everything's working. See the apron coming around there, and it looks straight. Load's moving back. That's good. Everything looks okay. That slat looks straight from what little I can see of it. That chain is still on the sprocket. I'm worried about that until we get this load off, but it's still there. That chain is still on the sprocket. I'm going to switch this over to slow apron chain so that it doesn't put as much stress on everything. Turn it around, neutral, slow. Hope this works. I got the load spread successfully, but I found a few problems. As I sort of expected to happen, the apron chain came off the front sprockets towards the end of the load, and I had to take the apron chain apart to get it unbound and wound up, putting the whole chain in a box here. That's the advantage of this kind of chain, you know, you can just store it away. And I found, and I kind of knew this, these sprockets are toast. These things are worn out on the back. There's the other one on the back. This one on the front's quite worn, and it's also cocked so that it's not at a right angle anymore. That one there, I can barely see. It doesn't look cocked, but it's pretty worn too. I've replaced 3 of these beaters, 1, 2, 3, but the rest of them need to be replaced too because they keep on bending like this. That one's really bad. And the floor, well, it may look okay, but it's definitely seen better days. When I was standing here cleaning it out with the shovel, I almost fell through. So here's my master plan, and it's a good thing that I enjoy fixing things. I'm gonna pressure wash this out, and then I'm gonna park it up by the upper barn for the summer, because I won't need it anymore this year. And then late in the winter, probably early spring next year, as a project, I'll replace the floor in this, go through, replace the other parts, get some more slats for the apron, put the chain itself looks fine, put that all back together, get it adjusted right, and then we'll be ready to spread manure next year. There's this guy on YouTube, have you seen him? He washes manure spreaders. It's the most fascinating thing ever. I could watch it for hours. It is very satisfying. One clean manure spreader. I didn't know if it was raining or not because I was pressure washing, but it is raining. Well, Hill, I think the manure spreader needs a lot more work than I thought it would.
Again?
Just seems like it's one thing after another. Yeah, ever since last year.
Yeah, starting last spring. Do you remember when the chicks, they canceled our orders like the night before we were supposed to get them? That was awful.
That kicked the whole thing off. The day before all our orders were supposed to ship. They canceled all the orders, not just the one that was supposed to ship, but the ones for the whole year.
That was
we got
horrible.
chicks coming all summer long. So,
Oh, jeez. Yeah, that was horrible.
and what do we have to do?
Yeah, you had to call around and find, shipments from various hatcheries. And we were
Yeah.
able to put it together, but that was really stressful. It was
Yep.
a stressful amount of legwork.
Yep. And then the MD broke down.
Yeah.
That was a huge
yeah,
thing for me.
That was awful.
And the pigs' breeding schedule went.
Yeah,
Wars and
we
sows.
got really behind on that, and we had to go find feeder pigs, and
Yeah.
yeah, that was.
And then things just seemed to keep breaking down. And I can't put my finger on what all's broke down, but it seems like I've been fixing stuff pretty much nonstop.
What happened?
Unexpected things that break
Yeah.
down, the manure spreader being the latest. It kind of reminds me of that old saying that sometimes you can't control what happens to you. But you can control how you react to it. And that really is what defines you as a person, as quality of person you are. And I think that we really take two attitudes, which are in those examples we gave you. The first is like with chicks, you said.
Yeah, we had to get right on that.
Yeah,
and
we
fix
scrambled.
it, but yeah,
There
we
was
were
no
really
pouting.
stressed.
No pouting about that, right? I mean, get on the phone,
Yeah, that
call all
was-
the hatcheries, patch
Immediate
together.
fix needed.
Yep. Patch together all the
Yeah.
orders.
Yep.
Same with pigs.
Yeah, we had to do that too.
Go out and find feeder pigs.
Yeah.
Found 2 boars. Finding 3 sows. We're getting there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Slowly but surely.
Yep. And then there's the other way of dealing with things, which is to just take a break. Like when the MD broke down, I said, I've had enough of this. I've been working on this for 2 years. My patience is at an end. So I left it for a month.
Yeah.
And then eventually I came around and said, I really want to hear it run again. And I want everything to be right.
Yeah.
So that was the other way of dealing with it. And sometimes the situation dictates how whether you need to respond immediately or whether you can sit on
Sometimes you
it
can
a while.
take a step back, and luckily with the MD you did, but with other things you cannot do that.
I
so.
can with the manure spreader.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I'm not looking forward to working on. No matter what I said, I really am not looking forward to working on a crap spreader. But that's the way things go. Anyway, I guess that's our lesson for the day. Kind of thinking about how you react to bad things that happen to you, and controlling what you can control and realizing what you can't control. We'll see you next time.